Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. Today I'm going to do a detailed review on the Keurig K-Latte. So you get this from Walmart. It's $90. Now it kind of looks like a normal Keurig machine, but it's got this frother on the side. And it folds up, so when it's folded up, yeah, it really looks just like a normal, like a Keurig K Compact. But with this out, you've got this nice frother. And there's what the frother looks like on the inside. It's got a little whisk that you can take off. It's a little hard to get back on. You got to line up the notch. But this side here looks just like a normal, you're just going to put your K-Cup in there. It's got the needles on the bottom and the top. So this is pretty standard Keurig here. Over here you've got a power switch. You've got an add water light. And then this does normal coffee. So you can do a 10 ounce, 8 ounce, 6 ounce coffee, but it's got this special latte button. It's called a shot. And that's going to brew 2 ounces of hot water through a K-Cup. And when we brew 2 ounces through a K-Cup, it's going to give us kind of a coffee shot or what I like to call like an espresso shot. But the machine looks really nice. It only comes in black. It does have this water reservoir. It's got a lid. It's got a maximum fill line. And the water reservoir is pretty, it's got like a handle that you can go fill it up. I've found it easier just to kind of leave it on there and fill it up with a pitcher. But when you put it back on, there's these tracks. So I do like the water reservoir. Pretty heavy duty cord, 3-prong. And you got to plug it into an outlet. Real quick dimensions, about 12 inches wide. And front to back, probably about another 12, 13 inches. And height-wise, you need about 16 inches. So it's got a removable drip tray, which that drip tray is really nice to have. It's all plastic and it's dishwasher safe. But if you need to get like a travel mug in there, that works really well to remove the drip tray. And that travel mug is right at 7 inches. So a 7-inch travel mug fits in there perfect. So this takes any standard K-Cup. You can buy these at Walmart or off Amazon, but any standard K-Cup is what this machine uses. And you can use those K-Cups for the coffees, which a normal cup of coffee is around 8 ounces. But if you want it a little stronger, you can do 6 ounces. But you can also use these standard K-Cups for your espresso shot. So anytime you're going to do a latte with the frothing milk, you're going to want like a really concentrated coffee, like an espresso shot. And that's what this machine does. I'm going to show you when you do that. It runs just 2 ounces of water through the K-Cup. So this video, I'm going to do some lattes and I'm also going to do some coffees at the end. And then I'm going to do some other videos that will be separate from this. I'm going to compare this machine to the Keurig K-Latte. I'm going to compare this machine to the Keurig K-Cafe. This is the Keurig K-Cafe, which I'll be comparing it to in another video. So let's talk about the frother. So the frother, like I said, it's got this tray that comes down. Now that's going to have electricity on it, so you don't get electrocuted by doing this, but just keep in mind there is electricity down in there. You're not going to want to get this wet. Just wipe it off. And same with this. So the downfall of this, you've got this big electrical connector on the bottom. You're not going to want to get this, you can't put this in the dishwasher. So you just have to kind of rinse this off, and you don't really want to get water down here around the switch and underneath here. So, but you can pull, like I said, pull that whisk out, and there's that thing, that's what turns the whisk. And there's a little key. It can be kind of tricky to get back on. And it's kind of hard to see, but you do have a minimum and a maximum line. The maximum line is 6 ounces. The minimum line is 4 ounces. So this is where you're going to put your milk. And then you're going to put it on here. And you got your lid, and we're going to press the start button, and that's going to froth the milk and heat it to about 150 degrees. And I want to show you, we're going to use milk, but I'm going to put water in here. I got 6 ounces of water. That's the maximum line. But the easiest way for me, the maximum line's hard to see. Just to the top of this black thing here is where the milk should go. That's going to be an easier indication of filling this up, because you don't want to overfill it. But you can go a little bit less. If you want a little bit less froth milk, then you can go to the minimum line. And this frother, this is nice. It's got like a little, this is where you pour it. It's got like a little lip where you can pour it out. And again, once you've got this frother on the electrical connection, the only thing you're going to do is come up here and hit the start button. I'm going to turn it off real quick, but we're going to froth some milk. We're going to brew our espresso shot. This is a really nice feature of this machine. That allows it to run 2 ounces of water through a normal K-Cup. I'm going to use 2% milk today, but I've used skim milk, almond milk, and soy milk. They all work in this frother. So again, we're just going to pour in the milk. Like I said, it's a little easier to go by that. So see how that black thing is just covered up? That's what I go by. Then we're going to make sure we put the lid on. And then really all we got to do is come up here and hit this power button. Now it's on steady, and that's going to start. That starts the frothing process and the heating process. It does it at the same time. So this takes about 2 minutes. Like I said, it's going to continually spin that milk and heat it. And when it's all done, the light flashes at you. You don't get any beeps or anything. The light just flashes at you. It's really quiet. You know, I can't even hear it frothing the milk right now. It'll be 150 degrees and kind of foamy. And again, I can pick my favorite flavor of K-Cup, and I can make an espresso shot out of that K-Cup. So here I've got the Starbucks. This is a coffee K-Cup. I'm just going to put it in here. Like I said, we just set it in there. We let the machine do all the work. It's going to pierce the bottom and the top. And I'm going to use this little cup just to show you how little it brews through there. So see how the shot light is blinking blue. That is one feature of this. When you're frothing milk, it only lets you do the latte shot button. So we're just going to press that. And this takes about 1 minute to brew this shot. No, less than a minute actually. Yeah, and the shot comes out relatively hot, 150, 160. It cools off really quick though. And that's all you get out of it. That's 2 ounces of a really concentrated coffee K-Cup. And that does give you sort of an espresso taste. And we're going to counteract that really concentrated, bitter coffee taste with the milk. And I'm going to make a vanilla one. I've got some vanilla syrup here. We're going to put that in there. So my milk is still frothing. The light is on steady. And like I said, this doesn't beep at you, so you got to kind of pay attention. So there, see, it just started flashing. Now I know that it's done. So I come over here. See how the milk is nice and frothy. So I like to put my syrups in first. I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of vanilla syrup. Then I'm going to get this is the frothed milk. This is not hot to touch. It's insulated, so you can touch this. It gets a little warm, but nothing near hot. But the milk is going to be hot. That froth didn't come in here the best. Normally the froth comes out of there a little better than that. That's that really rich, foamy. And then we're merely going to take our espresso shot. This is that 2 ounces I brewed earlier. And you can pour it in. And this is a stirred drink. And there you go. There you have a vanilla latte. I could have brewed the espresso shot right into the frothed milk, or done the espresso shot here and then dumped the milk in. But this is a really good tasting drink. It tastes delicious. Now you can add whipped cream to it. But you know, this drink isn't super hot. By the time you're doing everything, yeah, it's down to about 126. Is it going to burn your tongue? Yeah, a little bit, but this is ready to drink. So one thing I've learned using this frother is once it's done frothing the milk, you want to get the milk out right away. So in my earlier video, you saw when I let it sit there for just a little bit, the froth did not want to come out. But I'm going to show you that when you take the froth, so this is going to take about 2 minutes, and when you take it out right away, it all comes out really good. So this thing is so quiet, you forget that it finishes frothing the milk. You got to watch for that light to start flashing. But you really want to do the frothing of the milk first before you do anything else, because you'll get distracted. So froth your milk and then do everything, because that way all the milk comes out of the frother. Okay, the light started flashing. As soon as it starts flashing, come over here and empty it. See how much of a better job it did? What I found is if you let this sit for a little bit, if you let this sit over here on here, like say you froth your milk and then you just let it sit, what happens is this is heated up really hot on the inside, and the milk starts, the froth starts to stick to the surface. So you want to empty this as soon as you can. You still get that nice. So this is the foamy milk, and here's the creamy milk. And then you're going to want to brew your shot into that. And now we're brewing the shot into this. So this gives you a much better drink. You've got the foam, the shot, and the rich creamy milk. So this is the way to do it. So like I said, I've been using it for a little bit. You want to get the froth out as soon as possible. Don't let it sit here on here, because it just heats up and it won't want to come out. And then brew the shot into the cup. And the size of this, you can see this is a little bit smaller than even a Starbucks small drink. So you get between about 10 and 12 ounces of a drink. It's a pretty small drink, but it tastes really good. Now cleanup is simple. You're just going to grab your K-Cup. You cannot use this again. Once you run that steamy hot water through there, I know some people have asked me, well, you only ran 2 ounces through there. Can I do it again? I've tried it. Once you run that initial water through there, it gets really weak. So we can recycle these. I've got another video on how to recycle K-Cups. Now the cleanup on this is the kind of the downfall of the machine, if you will. So you're gonna have to rinse this out, get that froth out, and then you gotta take that out. And like I said, you just can't put this in the dishwasher. So clean up, and they say you want to clean this up right away. It's kind of a non-stick surface, but I rinse it out. And if you got a brush, it's relatively easy, but you just got to make sure you don't get water anywhere. I'm just going to demonstrate for you kind of how I do it. Kind of rinse the milk out, and then put a little bit of water in there. You can add a little bit of soap, and if you got a brush, this works the best. Just kind of brush it, and then do a couple rinses, and then it's good to go. Okay, so I showed you the latte side of it first, because that's mainly what you might buy this machine for, is because of that frother and the latte button. But this thing is a normal Keurig machine, and like I said, it does 6-ounce, 8-ounce, and 10-ounce coffees. Now we can take a same K-Cup that we used for our espresso shot. I'm going to use a donut shop this time. We're just going to put it in here any which way. I don't recommend piercing it. Just let it sit there. Let the machine do all the work. You're going to push it down. Now, it's going to light up the buttons now. And I like my K-Cup coffees around 8 ounces. So I'm just going to press the 8-ounce button. And in less than a minute, you're going to have an 8-ounce coffee through that K-Cup. And it comes out of there relatively hot. 160, 170. That's a really nice hot cup of coffee. They do recommend stirring these, because towards the end it is a little watered down. So there you go, in less than a minute. That's a really good tasting cup of coffee. Yeah, that tastes really good. And again, so people kind of wonder, why are there all these buttons? And I think Keurig just kind of gives you the option of, Did that taste good to you? If it tasted good to you, then keep it at 8. But if you like your coffee a little stronger, go to 6. If you want a little more, weaker, go to 10. So the only time the machine is loud after it brews a coffee, there's a tank, a reservoir inside here that it keeps hot. So it fills that water reservoir up and heats it up. So that's what you hear. And when you first turn it on, you're going to hear it boiling that water in that internal reservoir. That's why when everything's up to temperature, it takes about between 2 and 4 minutes when you first turn it on to get that reservoir up to temperature. But once it's up to temperature, once you press, then you can press these buttons and you have your coffee or latte in less than a minute. So same with the coffee. You're going to be careful. These can be hot. And there's your coffee K-cup. So if you're new to my channel, you'll know that I like to explain people K-cups. So it pierces the top with a needle. It also pierces the bottom. That's where the coffee is going to come out. So it's going to inject hot water into this area. So here I've got it cut open, and you'll see there is 2 tablespoons worth of coffee in this K-cup, and it has a little filter. So it keeps the coffee in this filter, which is really nice to prevent sediment. With this machine, I'm going to do another video on how to use a reusable K-cup with your own coffee grounds. And you can even use this reusable K-cup for the latte shot. So that'll save you a little bit of money. I'm also going to do another video on how to descale. This does not have a descale light. It's got an add water light. Some Keurigs, when they start building up a lot of calcium on the heating element, you'll have a descale light that comes on. This one does not have it, but still, you're gonna want to descale your Keurig once in a while. So some things you might notice is, so when you do activate the frother, so it's got some logic built in. So it says, okay, somebody activated the frother. Then it kind of automatically, it only lets you do a shot. So you really can't do a coffee if you're frothing the milk. You're going to have to kind of stop and do that after you froth the milk. So there is some logic built in. The only button I can press, see, I can't press these. I can't do that. I can only do the shot. But if you wait if you wait a little while, then all of them start to flash. And then I can press any button I want. So this machine will turn off. So once you turn it on, it's going to stay on for 2 hours. And what that 2 hours, it's just going to keep that water inside that tank inside here. It's going to keep that water hot for 2 hours. After 2 hours, it'll let that water cool down. So that's an automatic feature that you can't turn off as far as I know. So if I come up here and turn the power off, then I'm going to stop everything and I can't use the heating element inside there will be off. But it still lets me use the frother. So even with the power button off on the Keurig, I can still use the frother. Interesting. And again, if you want to put the frother up in the cabinet, that does fold up really nice and looks really nice when it's folded up. Keurig is known to their machines do look good. So here again, just kind of a close-up of, this is a pretty standard Keurig machine as far as it's got the needle up above, be careful, and it's got a needle down in there. And you can do rinses, so they recommend leave no cake, don't put a K-cup in there, close the lid, make sure it's on. And you can just do a fresh water rinse, run 8 ounces through, and that kind of rinses out the chamber that holds the K-cup. And you would want to do this in between, like if somebody brewed a tea or a hot chocolate before you, or before they brew their tea or hot chocolate, they would want to do a rinse first. That just helps keep the flavor separate between the two, because you do get a little bit of residual taste in where the K-cup goes. And when you need to add water, the blue add water light comes on steady. Even though you'll have a little bit of water left in the reservoir, like I said, even though it looks like there's quite a bit of water left in here, you're not going to be able to brew anything until you get this add water light to go out. So it won't activate the buttons because it knows there's not enough water in there to do the 10-ounce drink if I was going to do a 10-ounce drink. So this looks like a really solid machine. The only downfall that I see is the frother. And that's just because it's not, it's not dishwasher safe. And you got to kind of watch out for the electrical connections. And getting this cleaned in here was kind of tricky, but you're going to get used to it. But this is a really solid machine. It does make a really good tasting latte. Granted, it's just not a really big drink like you would get it at Starbucks or something. And as far as coffee, this is your standard settings for coffee. It produces a really hot cup of coffee, and the taste is really good. And it's got a relatively big water reservoir in the back. Again, this is just a dad. If you got any questions at all on this machine, I check my comments on a daily basis, and I'll respond back to your questions or your comments. And I'm going to do several videos on this machine. It looks like a really nice machine. I'm going to make different drinks. I'm also going to do a comparison against the competitor. So the Keurig K-Cafe that I'm going to compare it against, it's about twice as expensive. But is it worth that money? I'm going to show you. So again, everybody, thank you for watching. Today I got up and I passed 2,000 subscribers. I just thank everybody for that, for your support. And if you could, please like and subscribe. And thank you for watching.